morning, students. Welcome to the IGCSE online sessions. I'm Mr. Charles, and this is the third lesson for the fifth week. Please go to your workbook, page 56 and 57, Directed Writing. Rafael Selas, Director of Anidan, our wishmaker for the month. Let's read together. There are projects that are an open invitation for us to imagine a better world is possible. Are projects that can begin with a journey and a personal initiative. We're talking about projects like Anidan, an NGO, non-governmental organization that supports a home for orphaned and abandoned children, a children's hospital, and a system of microcredits for women to start a small business to support their children. We had the honor of meeting Rafael Selas, founder and director of Anidan, someone who many thought crazy or too naive when he began to make his dream come true. Rafael started alone in 2002 and now has a small army of 80 workers and volunteers who help him with 250 children on the island of Lamu in Kenya. To us, this type of crazy makes us dream and keeps us inspired. That's why we made him our wishmaker of the month. Rafael, how did you start this project that now has representatives in Italy, Spain, England, and soon North America? It began when, contrary to everyone's opinion, I went to Lamu with the idea of renting a house and helping to support some of the children I had seen wandering among the garbage or had malaria but did not have the means to pay for medical attention. I realized that working in Africa was a tremendous task, but a task that someone has to do. Large organizations or international organisms aren't enough. What projects has Anidan created? We have the orphanage and the hospital. Although we dedicated ourselves to the children and their future, we also need to take care of their families. We have also begun to offer microcredits to poor women who want to start small businesses. This way, they can support their children and regain their dignity. How many people work at Anidan, and how many children do you take care of? There are a total of 80 people who work at the hospital and the orphanage as cooks, cleaners, midwives, teachers, doctors, and people in charge of the maintenance of the buildings and the house. There are 250 children who work or who come to school, and half of them sleep at the orphanage. We need them, or we feed them, clothe them, take them to the doctor, and keep them in school, covering their basic needs. The hospital attends to 13,000 children a year and has 4,000 first aid camps. Everything is free of charge for the children, including the medicines that they could not pay for. Would you like to share an anecdote? The majority of children who come to us are very young and carry a heavy burden on their shoulders. A large part of our children are Borana girls who have escaped from wars and live in straw huts without water, electricity, or a simple toilet. The Borana girls belong to a tribe that does not believe women should progress. When they get home, they have to help with the heaviest chores and do not even have light under which to read or write. Many of these girls have secretly organized themselves to study, and they are now at the top of their classes. It's amazing to see how they progress each year in their silent fight for the right to study. International scope. Well, our projects are located in Lamu, Kenya, Since 2011, we have a representative in Italy, and our ambassador in London is the famous choreographer Wayne McGregor. This year we have, or we hope, to launch Anidan United States. Who are or who is your wishmaker? Ever since I was young, I felt admiration for Gandhi, Nelson Mandela, and organizations such as UNICEF, Red Cross, and Greenpeace. There are many other examples, such as Vicent Ferrer or Doctors Without Borders. But today, my heroes are the people who help me every day. As a father and the director of Anidan, what advice would you give parents today? Make your children study, study, study. It doesn't matter how bleak things appear, or whether you are in Spain or in Kenya. Only by studying will children and young people lead a better life. Now for the question on page 57. It reads, read the interview with Rafael Silas carefully and write a short informative article about his work with Anidan for your school magazine. Write between 250 to 350 words. Use a separate sheet of paper if necessary, so not necessarily on the book. Include the following points: your opinion on what Anidan is doing in Lamo, your views on whether your school could or should help, ideas about how your school could help. You may pause the video now after a couple of minutes, just we explain the diagram and what to write. This should take you about 30 to 40 minutes. Write up to 200 to 250 words, no more. And then come back and we can cross-check it together with the example that I have written. But before you go, you should know what to structure. First of all, there has to be an introduction. Whatever you may choose that to be, but there has to be an introduction. You cannot immediately go into your first point, that is your opinion. Since your opinion includes what Anidan is doing in Lamo, you have to introduce to the reader what is Anidan. So briefly describe what is Anidan as part of, you can consider a transition between the introduction and the body. After you have described what is Anidan, go to what is it doing. Since this is what's wanted. What is it doing in Lamo, Kenya? And then you can get in your first point, that is your opinion on its doings. After you've done that, you should move to the possible ways to help. This is the second, closely related to the second point. How can you help? And after you've figured out how you can help, you can move to how your school or community can help, which is basically the second and the third points together. After you have finished how you can help or your school and community can help, you should conclude whatever conclusion you may find suitable. So pause the video now, go and try to write a draft, and then come back, cross-compare it with the one that is coming. We are all one is a statement heard and read countless times in literature, history, sociology, and even science. Yet we still have much to accomplish to achieve equality among people in need. Many individuals and organizations are in the process of doing so, one of which is Anidan. So we made an introduction and then we smoothly went to the second point. What is Anidan? Anidan is a non-profitable organization that have managed to create an orphanage, hospital, and a small credit system for women in Lamu, Kenya. This is what it is doing. In our times of injustice and poverty in Africa, your opinion comes now. I believe we are in great need for such an organization that ensures children grow up having the minimum life requirements to become semi, if not full, active members of society that may further develop it. So now you have stated the benefits of what we can do. But what really can we do? But the work field is vast, and Anidan needs everybody to pitch in. And our school and community are no different. This is a transition, this is a bridge between the previous point and the coming point of what can you do. We may organize weekly gatherings of unwanted food, clothing, school material, or any other stuff that we can spare. That's the first thing you can do. Also, we can organize fundraisers for those who can donate. It's the second thing you can do. Last but not least, we can contact organizations working there in Lamo, like Anidan, to understand how we can help. So instead of us creating help in here, we can contact the people who are already there and ask if they want us to go there, volunteer, if we can send money, if it's only enough to send clothing and school material, if we know some people in Africa that could help them there. The benefit, doing so, we may ensure the well being of those children and their educational efforts, continuing to prosper. Strengthen the community there by helping it to stand on its own, and stress on the idea of we are all one. That it does not matter where the need is, it is our responsibility to aid it. You see how we closed or we concluded with the same as the beginning? This is to wrap up, this is to encircle your piece of writing. And this is a good way to write an informative article or any article in general, because articles are, as you see, decisively short and they have to make a quick effect of a complete, cohesive piece. So imagine we started the circle with one dot, with one point in the introduction, and then we drew the circle, and the last point we came back to is the same. We are all one. Try to work out this method in your writings of articles here now on. We're done for today. Thank you for listening. Stay safe and keep up the good work.